And now Dad came over to help me because we just found, welcome back to HiTech Farmer. Today, I'm out in our field. We got our 6150 here, but more importantly, we got the neighbor out here doing a little bit of tiling for us. So I'm gonna be following behind. He's got some rocks marked for me. And hopefully, once I get all the rocks picked up, we can jump in the tiling machine. The reason the tiler's bringing up even bigger rocks than we usually find out in the fields is because he's digging the tile lines in between 3 and 4 foot deep, and normally us with our ripper and our chisel plow, we're only going between 10 and 15 inches deep. So just digging that much deeper, we're finding a lot bigger rocks. Like these two monstrosities. I mean, look at my hand compared to the rock. We'll see if we can get those into the bucket as well. Well, I got the bigger of the two in the bucket, the small one's still out here in the field. Because these rocks weigh so much and I'm gonna be going across the tile lines in the field and the tractor's gonna be rocking back and forth, I'm just gonna bring these two up to the bin. That way I don't bust an axle, and we'll come back for this one. For those wondering, what does a tile line look like? What exactly are you putting in the ground? Here's a quick history lesson on tile lines. Here you're looking at 3 different types of tile. We got clay tile, which were very common in my grandpa's time. Here we have concrete tile, which they used to use for some of the larger tile lines. As you can tell, this is a 4-inch diameter, which didn't move as much water as this 12-inch diameter. And now in today's standards, mostly everything is plastic tile. So this is what they're installing out there in the field. Here's the view from the cab as I'm trying to get a rock. You can barely see it. It's right there pinched in between the loader and the hood of the tractor. That's usually where I like to put it. That way I can see it off to the side. And then I control the loader right here with the joystick. Push the rock together and you should be able to see there's the rock. We got another one. Now we start slowly bumping our way around here in the field. That way we can dump this rock back off up by the bin. And now Dad came over to help me because we just found one of the biggest rocks I've ever seen in one of our fields. So he's gonna be inside the tractor. I'm gonna be out here guiding him. That way we can get it into the bucket. Look at that rock. Here's my hand in comparison. I wish it said inside the tractor how much it weighed, because you can tell the tires are starting to squat. Well, we got this one out of there. Because of how much this rock weighs, we're only able to go right at 2 miles an hour all the way up to the road, and then we'll bring it to the bin. We're gonna add this big rock here to our little bit of group that we got going, and then come back eventually and get these out of here. But look at that thing. Look at the size of this rock. Normally I would say these other size rocks are pretty big for the field, but this thing is easily 3, if not 4 times the size of these other ones. Sometimes we'll have landscapers that want those big, large rocks for people to etch their name inside and use as a landscaping ornament. But with those ones right there, we'll more than likely give them to people that live on the lake that want them down at their shore. That way the water doesn't keep eating away at their lawn. So we'll eventually just bring those to somebody that lives on the lake. Made it back to the farm, have all the rocks picked up out at that field so far, waiting just for the Tyler to call me and let me know when he's got some more marked. So I'm gonna take our scrap iron container to town. That way I got that thing emptied out before next spring. Because I don't want any of the scrap iron in the tote sitting that high above the cab of the truck, I'm gonna bring the grinder out here, start trying to grind down some of these pieces. That way everything will fit nicely in the tote. A lot of people have been commenting on the videos that we don't always do the safest things here at the farm, so made sure I grab my pair of protective goggles. That way I don't get any sparks or metal filings in my eyes. That was a little bit of chopping. These other pieces, they're like 6 foot long, and I got a bunch of heavy pieces off the digger holding them down, so that stuff will ride. Basically what's inside this iron box is anything and everything. So here, this is like some fence that we took down. Here are the posts that were all bent up and that we couldn't save. Here's just some odd pieces of metal that I found when I was digging. Just odds and ends that we really have no purpose for, so we'll bring this to the scrap yard and then they'll eventually melt it down to make brand new iron things. I'm often amazed at the cool things I find when I drop stuff off here at the scrap place. A couple lawnmowers here. There's usually a couple grain bins and some tillage tools that people salvage way up at the top of the mountain. And the grand total for that load of scrap iron was $33.80. And if you see my previous video, I guess I didn't factor in this into the total cost of production of how much money our farm's gonna make for next year, but it's only $33.80. Made it back out to the field where they're doing the tiling, and as far as I can tell, it looks like they are done here. The crew moved on to a different project, but I came here more importantly because every time we do a tiling job, I always want to make sure I get 2 things by the time it's over. Number 1, a map of where all the tile lines are. That way when I come back years later, whether it's me, someone else, they can find the tile lines because they're buried 4 feet underground. And secondly, I like to send the drone up to get some images of where the tile lines are at in reference to, say, a tree line, a farm place, a bin site, what have you. That way, years down the road when you're trying to gauge where tile lines are, if you don't have GPS or GPS for some reason changes into the future, you have something to go off. So I'm going to send the drone up, get some images of our tile lines we put in. Here's kind of an overlooking shot of all the lines we put in at this field. As you can tell, there's different breaks and different spots where they're at in the field. Reason being, some of those places where we didn't put tile, those already have lines, so there's no reason to put any more tile there. And then they all connect up to another main line that drains the tile out of the farm. This portion of the field where the tile lines run parallel to each other is what we call as farmers pattern tiling. Reason being, this helps with the consistency of water levels all the way across the field and really helps improve the moderation of yields as we go across the field with the combine. Well, that's gonna do it for today's video from HiTech Farmer. I'm gonna take this awesome sunset in that's going on right now. Thanks so much everyone for watching. and we'll see ya in the next one.